What is up, everybody? Happy Monday evening. My name is Mono Mike, and I'm your host of the Huddle Hub Podcast. Welcome to this special edition of the Huddle Hub Podcast. We have a bunch of news coming out of the NFL that has been happening over the past 2 hours or a little more. As we know, the last week of preseason happened this weekend. No more preseason games. They're done. It's over with. In about a week, we are going to be getting ready to kick off the 2025 NFL season. The Eagles and the Cowboys on Thursday Night Football. The Eagles will be raising their Super Bowl 59 banner, and the Cowboys will be in the stadium to do it. The big rivalry between the Eagles and the Cowboys. But that's not what we're here to talk about. No. A lot of news coming out of the NFL today, and the big one is that Trey Hendrickson, the defensive end from the Cincinnati Bengals, is finally done with his hold-in. He has signed a 1-year, $14 million contract. That is the information that I'm getting as far as other sources. I'm sure more news from this is going to come out as the day goes on, as the night goes on, and we get into tomorrow morning as training camp goes on for the rest of the week. But Trey Hendrickson is done with his hold-in, and he is now officially a Cincinnati Bengal for the 2025 NFL season. Now, there was a lot of talks about trade rumors of him either going to the Lions, the Falcons, the Eagles, the Bills, or the Raiders. Those were the teams that were looked at as far as a trade to happen. That was over the weekend. Goes in today, and he finally gets the deal done. Now, I'll say this, and I said this on the Huddle Hub yesterday. The Bengals need to make this move. They need to sign him. Get him in your building fully and on that field to get ready for the season, because you need him on your defense. You took care of Shamar Stewart. Great. And all the talk about Shamar Stewart being the replacement for Trey Hendrickson, you can't let that happen right now. The Shamar Stewart's a rookie. For him to come in and take over a defense in what is set to be one of the biggest years in the NFL would not be the right move. Would not be the right move. So to get Trey Hendrickson in your building, signed, sealed, delivered, and good to go was a great move by the Bengals. This is far overdue. Far overdue. I've been saying this for the past couple months, that the Bengals needed to get this deal done. Once the word came out that, he's up on a contract, they need, they don't know whether they're going to re-sign him or not. You need to get it done. Now, there was word that Trey Hendrickson did insist that he wouldn't play this season for $16 million remaining on his contract. Now he has reworked his contract and is expected to play for the Bengals opener. Okay. That was the first word that came out 3-4 months ago when this all started. You have the money to re-sign one of the biggest assets on your defense, and you didn't want to make this move sooner. Baffles me. Now, there's many teams that make deals happen a day before the season starts or a week before the season starts. Obviously, we're 10 days away from kickoff. The Eagles and the Cowboys. And then on Friday night, we got the Chargers and the Chiefs out in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Okay, but you are kicking off the season against a division rival in the Cleveland Browns. Now, I know the Cleveland Browns, they're not expected to really do much of anything this year. Just like last year. They brought in Joe Flacco to be the starting quarterback because you brought in 2 rookies and a backup quarterback who just got off of a Super Bowl win. One's injured, Kenny Pickett. And then you got Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel, who had some great moments in preseason. But I don't think they're ready to be starters. Now, who am I to make that decision or make that claim? I'm a fan. I'm a fan who loves to talk football, and that's why this show exists. But to let your best defensive player, who led the league in sacks, mind you, not get signed until a week before the season was kicked off makes no sense to me. Now, you guys are probably wondering what I'm doing, not looking at. I'm just trying to make sure that I don't miss anything as far as news, and news just keeps coming out. You can hear the notifications going off. But it's a great thing that the Bengals got this deal done. And now Trey Hendrickson will be on the field against the Browns in week 1 in the season opener for the Cincinnati Bengals. Great move. Great move, Cincinnati. Because you needed this for your defense. Now, I'm going to do my predictions on Sunday. Okay? I'm not doing my predictions today. This show is specifically to talk about the big news that's coming out today, because it is big news. Expect more pop-up lives to happen throughout the week. Expect it, because I'm expecting to be doing this, because this is going to be a big week, and I'm not missing a beat. If big news comes out on Wednesday or Thursday while I'm at work, you best believe when I come home, I will be live that evening to talk about it. But great move, Cincinnati. I'm happy you got this done. Trey Hendrickson, I'm happy for you that this got done and that you're going to be a Bengal for another year, because this team needs that help on defense. The offense is set. You just needed to get that defense intact, and you were that missing piece of the puzzle. So great job, Cincinnati. Congratulations to Trey Hendrickson on this, as far as I believe, as far as the information I got pulled on, 1 year, $14 million raise. Okay. In other news, Joe Mixon, running back of the Texans. Actually, you know what? We'll talk about him in a moment. Terry McLaurin, wide receiver of the Commanders, has signed his extension with the Commanders. 3 years, $96 million deal, $30 million signing bonus. Big, big move for the Commanders to do this. I had said that I don't think the Commanders are going to have the same year as they had last year. Why? Because it was somewhat of a revolving door in Washington. And what I mean by that is this is not the same team that was there last year. They made some changes. Now, when you look at the offensives of Washington, you got Jaden Daniels, who's the quarterback, Terry McLaurin, who's a wide receiver. Deebo Samuels got traded from San Francisco to come over to Washington. You have Zach Ertz as the tight end. But then you look at the running back position. You just traded away the best running back on your roster. Now, I get it. You got a running back there who you believe is going to be a good running back for you, but he is an unknown. No establishment whatsoever, and you're going to rely on him. This is basically saying, if this does not pan out, we are going to rely on Jaden Daniels, not only to make sure he can throw the ball, but he's got to run it as well. Pressure him, just like Cam Newton was pressured out in Carolina. Just like Lamar Jackson for the longest time out in Baltimore. You are now putting that pressure on Jaden Daniels if this running back does not pan out. It is great you got Terry McLaurin done, but the Brian Robinson trade was just not, shouldn't have happened. You literally just threw the 49ers a give me. Because Christian McCaffrey will not have to run as hard as he does, or had to. Brian Robinson can go in on third downs and punch the ball across the first down line. San Francisco 1, Washington 0. That's that. Great move for San Francisco, bad move for Washington. Now I'll sit here and say this. Do I think Washington will make the playoffs? Yeah, 10-7, wild card, 7 seed. That's a prediction. That's part of my predictions on Sunday. So expect that to come out of my mouth on Sunday. This is a great move, Washington. But now think about your running back position. Think about what you're going to do with the running. I mean, the Brian Robinson trade, I do not think was smart. I don't. I'm looking at the free agent list. Who's out there yet that Washington might be able to go out and possibly bring on their roster at the running back position? And looking at it right now, nobody. Oh, there's a couple running backs out there that could be available. Zach Moss, Jamal Williams, Gus Edwards, Amir Abdullah, Chase Edmonds, Chris Evans, Owen Wright. A couple running backs out there. If I had to pick one running back for the Commanders to go out and pick up, it would be Zach Moss. Zach Moss would be the running back. So Washington, your next move would be thinking about that, I think. Bringing in a veteran running back to lead the way for this rookie that you are relying on. But great move on the Terry McLaurin stuff. Great job with that pickup, with that re-sign, with that extension. But now think about your running back position. As far as other contracts, Amari Cooper, the free agent wide receiver, he's going to be returning to the Las Vegas Raiders for 1 year. He made a 1-year deal with the Raiders to return. So it is yet to know how much his contract is worth. I'm going to say it's got to be worth at least $5 million. I could be wrong. And I've been trying to get this information for the past 2 hours now since the announcement. But it is yet to be reported how much Amari Cooper's contract is going to be worth with returning to Las Vegas. But I think it's safe to say that he signed at least a $5 million deal. That's got to be the safe bet. This is a great pickup by Las Vegas, by the way. This is going to help them. Why? Because Jacoby Myers, the news has just broken that Jacoby Myers had requested a trade out of Las Vegas. So enter Amari Cooper, exit Jacoby Myers. Sorry. That's rough. When you think you have a receiving core that's going to help you get in and through the 2025 NFL season, no expectations whatsoever from anybody, probably except me, coming out of Las Vegas in 2025. I have high hopes for Las Vegas this year. I do. Wait until you hear my prediction on Sunday. When you think you have your crew put together as far as a wide receiver room with bringing in Amari Cooper, Jacoby Myers comes to your office and says, I want to trade. That's rough. That's a rough deal. I'm looking at the Las Vegas Raiders wide receiver room right now. Jacoby Myers, Amari Cooper, Trey Tucker. They also have Dante Thornton Jr., Jack Beck, Alex Backman, Tommy Mellott, Justin Shorter, and Shedrick Jackson. Brock Bowers at tight end, Michael Mayer, Ian Thomas. I mean, this is a good room when it comes to your wide receivers and tight ends. Great hands team. And you're Jacoby Myers coming into your office asking for a trade. I think what Las Vegas needs to do is focus on Jacoby Myers right now as I'm speaking and say to him, what can we do to make you happy? And keep you on the field in the Las Vegas uniform. What can we do? I'm sure we'll hear some news in the next couple days about Jacoby Myers. If there's a trade that happens, if he gets traded, or if he doesn't, he ends up saying, I'm not coming in. We'll have to keep an eye on that and see further. If nothing comes of it and no other big news breaks throughout the week to where I go live, I will have more news on Sunday if anything comes out. Kyle Trask, quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's the backup. He is going to be waived. He is ending up on the waiver wire. So you think about this is you got Baker Mayfield out in Tampa Bay. He's the starting quarterback, has a great receiving core. The Buccaneers are highly favored to win the Super Bowl this year. And you are letting go of the backup quarterback, the guy who is supposed to come in and back up Baker Mayfield. I mean, I look at it right now and it says Teddy Bridgewater is the number 2. But Kyle Trask is still a reliable backup quarterback. And you're letting him go. You're waiving him. So you're going to keep 2 quarterbacks opposed to 3. What happens if Baker goes down and what happens if Teddy goes down? Then you have Kyle Trask, nobody to rely on. Knock on wood, that doesn't happen. Hopefully Baker does stay healthy. And I'm not only saying that because he's my quarterback in fantasy football. He was I drafted him in my fantasy draft last night. But to reach its own, why not have a third quarterback in your room? Why are you only going to have Baker Mayfield and Teddy Bridgewater? But Tampa's going to decide to waive Kyle Trask. We got one more bit of news to talk about before I get out of here. Short little live to talk about some of the stuff coming out. But we're going to take about a 20 to 30 second break for a moment for you guys to check out where you can find us on social media. So make sure you guys are heading over to all the social medias over on the Huddle Hub Podcast, over on Twitch. If you're watching on Twitch, the Huddle Hub Podcast, you just hit that follow button. It would definitely be appreciated. If you want to head over to all of our social medias over at the Huddle Hub Pod on TikTok, X, and YouTube, it would greatly be appreciated. You got to hit the subscribe button over on YouTube to follow. Now, when you hear subscribe, you're probably thinking, oh, man, I got to pay something. No, that's how you follow on YouTube, is you hit the subscribe button. That's it. So if you guys can go over to each of those social medias and hit that follow button on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, please do so now. On the bottom of the profile on the Twitch channel is all the links to the social media. Please help us build the Huddle Hub Podcast going into the 2025 NFL season and beyond. Last bit of news, Joe Mixon, running back of the Texans, he will not be cleared by week 1 for the Houston Texans. He is dealing with an ankle injury right now. He is expected to miss at least the first 4 games of the season. That is tough. When you look at the Texans' schedule in the first 4 games, they go to Los Angeles to play the Rams. Then they come back home to take on the Buccaneers. Okay? Those are 2 big games. 2 big non-conference games that could mean something towards the back end of the year. But then you look at week 3, and they head out to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. And then they come home to take on the Titans in week 4. 2 division games. So in your first 4 games of the season, they are big. Okay? Now, I mean, the Texans are kind of deep in running back. They got Nick Chubb. They got Pierce. You know, they got some reliable running backs there. But Joe Mixon is their guy. Okay? And it's rough with the explosiveness of the running back position right now. Your starting running back will not be ready for week 1. That is rough. And especially when your schedule insists of the Rams, Buccaneers, Jaguars, and Titans. Now, they shouldn't have a big problem with the Jaguars and Titans. That should be 2 wins right there. But you never know. You never know what the Jaguars are going to look like. I don't expect much from them. I don't expect much from the Titans this year. But you never know. Those 2 teams can come out firing to start the season. So if I was Houston, I would probably think about looking at that free agent list as well to see if somebody could come in and help them to start this season. Because with the history of Nick Chubb's injuries, I would not rely on him to be a 3-down back. Get Pierce working and have him in there for at least 1 or 2 plays a drive. That way, Nick Chubb does not have to carry the load in these first 4 games. Because you look at the Rams' defense, great defense. Buccaneers, great defense. Titans and Jaguars are kind of a work in progress. But again, you never know. You never know what teams are going to bring onto the field in the first couple weeks of the season. We've seen it last year. The Saints came firing on all cylinders to start the season last year. All cylinders. And then all of a sudden they dropped off after they played Philadelphia. Came out, won both their first 2 games with 40 points on the board. Scored the most points in the NFL. Gave up the least. And then you come in and play against Philadelphia and lost. So if I was Houston, I would think about what you're going to do and think about maybe looking at that free agent list with Joe Mixon being out at least the first 4 games. Could it be beyond? Maybe, depending on how bad the ankle injury is. So we'll have to see. But that's all I got for you guys. Thank you for joining me here on this short episode of the Huddle Hub Podcast. If you want to join me on social media, Instagram, X, TikTok, Snapchat is MetalMike714. That's where you can find me. Go over to YouTube, check out the YouTube shorts and replays of each show of the Huddle Hub Podcast over on the Huddle Hub Pod. I post clips also on TikTok at the Huddle Hub Pod, and I make posts about the show on X. Announcements, everything over on X. So please go follow. All the links to all the socials are on the bottom of the Twitch channel here in the bio. So you can just click and go. Just click and go. Hit that follow button. YouTube, hit the subscribe button. As I said, you don't have to pay anything. And it would deeply be appreciated to help us build the Huddle Hub Podcast going into the 2025 season and beyond. So on the docket for this week, on the Sunday show, we got the predictions coming up. I'll be making my predictions. And I'm talking like full season predictions and then through the playoffs and who I think will ultimately be raising the Lombardi Trophy in 2025 at Super Bowl 60. We're also going to talk college football. Going to be making picks for that as well. So please come join me 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday. Keep your eye out for any pop-up shows throughout this week as well as all the news that's coming out from the NFL. Other than that, if nothing comes and no lives happen, I'll see you guys on Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time right here, Huddle Hub Podcast. Appreciate you guys stopping by. See you next time.